Now, speaking of losing issues, you have this bank that's gone woke, and as you can imagine, it's going broke. We did a story way back when regarding Home Depot doing the same thing where they went woke and then they were going broke in that store from Canada because a lot of people got pissed off with them pushing this gender identity stuff upon their workers and everybody else. Well, a British bank slammed its own customers over disagreement with its pronoun policy, causing many to withdraw their funds or even just close their accounts altogether. And these weren't small accounts. These accounts were in like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So Halifax Bank tweeted an image of a name tag for Gemma, who apparently has she/her/hers pronouns. On June 28th, along with the caption, "Pronouns matter." As you can imagine, these leftists will go wherever they want, regardless of how it's going to harm the company. And these executives that are on these leftist side will drive the companies into the ground as well. Case in point, you got these lefties running in Congress trying to drive America in the ground as well, trying to promote socialism, get rid of capitalism, all those other things. One user replied that he was hoping that this was a joke and is now considering taking his business elsewhere. In response, a Halifax representative named Lee said the company strives for inclusion and equality. "Hi, I'm Lee. At Halifax, we strive for inclusion and equality. Giving our colleagues the option to add their pronouns on their badge helps you create an inclusive environment for our customers and colleagues." I always love how it's always inclusive for one side. Do you notice that? Like maybe somebody on the other side of the aisle might not feel inclusive with that. Maybe they only have one pronoun. Maybe they have no pronouns. Maybe they don't want to be referred to certain things. But you're not going to sit there and be inclusive with that. Furthermore, you're not going to be inclusive regarding those that disagree with what you're doing. So that it only works in one direction. That's always how it works. So another user replied by noting that there is no ambiguity about the female name Gemma, calling the post pathetic virtue signaling and asking Halifax why it is trying to alienate people. A Halifax representative obviously threw themselves into the mix named Andy M. and told users he is welcome to close your account if he disagrees with our values. Damn. At least they're open about it. At least Halifax is being honest, like, hey, we don't want your business. If you don't agree with us, get the hell out. So that's what people are doing. Several users took the representative's advice and basically ceased to do business with Halifax. One account holder already pulled out their investments and savings worth $550,000. Many others said they are closing their ISAs, cutting up credit cards, and transferring balances to rivals. Some high-profile customers followed suit. "I'm a homosexual man. I'm appalled by your adoption of this homophobic, woman-hating claptrap and by your attitude to customers, making perfectly reasonable objections to it." That comes from Gareth Roberts, a former Doctor Who scriptwriter, said on Twitter, noting that he has been a customer with the bank since 1988. If anybody knows anything about business, it's extremely hard not just to get a new customer, but keep a customer for that many years. So when you have old customers like that splitting, it is never a good sign. The willingness to cancel accounts appears to run in both directions. Halifax's website explains that transphobic behavior may lead to the company to end relations with a customer or even involve law enforcement. Because remember, anytime you say anything that's even remotely a fact nowadays, you get removed off platforms, you get removed off companies. They don't want you to be their customer anymore. Case in point, Dave Rubin, Jordan Peterson, both banned and suspended on Twitter for saying something that was actual fact. We saw this with the Babylon Bee executive editor. We saw this with another editor-in-chief of The Federalist, I believe, getting banned off Twitter for saying that who's that general for Joe Biden? The name slips my mind, but that was a biological male. Now they were removed for Twitter for just saying an absolute fact that they are a biological male. I can't remember the lady's name. I'll put a picture on the screen though of a lady's name, the man's name for you on the screen. We stand against discrimination and inappropriate behavior in all forms, whether racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, or ableist, regardless of whether this happens in our branches, offices, over the phone, or online, on our social media channels. Even if you thought of it, we're going to get you. We're going to remove you. We don't want you to be our customer if you thought about this. It's just like, God, it's so tiring that these corporations are getting all involved in this stuff. It only further divides the country. This is not a good direction that we're going. When corporations and everybody starts like dividing on literally everything, you will have a civil war at some point in the future if we continue this direction, because it's going in the completely wrong direction than what you would expect. At least in the United States, customers would prefer brands to stop preaching and pursue profits. An exclusive Daily Wire poll conducted says that 29% of its respondents agreed it is a good thing for companies to leverage their financial power for political or social means. Supported by executives, 58%, twice as many, said it's a bad thing. 100% a bad thing. I would love to know the rationale of why respondents would agree that it would be a good thing. Because if you left yourself out of the political sphere, at that point, you're catering to both sides. But the moment that you inject your politics into your business and your marketing, you're automatically removing a certain segment of the country. So on a business standpoint, it just doesn't make sense to me why you'd interject your politics. You kind of just stay out of it. And that way, both sides will want to go shop and buy whatever product you're producing or product you're selling. It just, again, I don't understand 29%. But again, supposedly 81 million people voted for Joe Biden. So I guess there's that. There's that connection. And another point I want to make to this is it's just baffling that these companies will still continue to trot out these leftist ideologies when people are fleeing from their businesses like we have here in Halifax. They're fleeing from their Disney subscriptions. Look at what happened with Buzz Lightyear. I wanted to see Buzz Lightyear. People like Kayleigh McEnany wanted to take their kids to go see Buzz Lightyear. A lot of people wanted to go see it, but now they're pushing this LGBTQ plus stuff, and people didn't go see it, which it flopped. It made like $51 million or something like that. I mean, obviously made more. I think it's like $100 million so far. It's been like a few weeks, but it's a flop. For a Disney film, it's a huge flop. It's like one of the worst films that they produced in quite some time. But because you have these Disney execs out there pushing this stuff, they don't care if they run that company into the ground. They're going to go find another job. They'll go somewhere else. They'll have another woke company that wants to hire them. Disney is taking massive, massive hits right now because of this woke ideology they're trying to push. And you have the Daily Wire that's coming out. Look, we'll do Daily Wire Plus. We'll put out a streaming service that will help your kids inculcate American values, American creed, and we won't be indoctrinating them with this trans stuff. We won't be teaching them how to masturbate with commercials. We won't be showing trans people trying to buy freaking tampons like they were showing on Baymax on Disney Plus streaming. All this stuff's being like pushed by the left, and they don't get it. They can't wrap their heads around, nor do those executives that are there care enough to actually speak up and go against what these leftists are doing in their companies of driving it into the ground. We have the same issue in our government where you got these people at the top like AOC, Ilhan Omar, Bernie Sanders, all these people saying radical things. And it is radical when you say that socialism is good. That is radical. I don't care who you are. I rarely ever use that word radical on the show. It is radical to promote Soviet Union Russia. It is radical to promote socialism. It is radical to say communist things on camera and be all for it. That is radical and not okay, but people are going to push that. And now they're pushing at the top levels of government all the way down to our education system, which is now inculcating values into our youth. And they're going to go out and run for Congress themselves and push those same ideas. This is going to be a bad, bad effect until we rise up as the right and start speaking about it and speaking truths like we're doing here on the show, regardless of whether it happens with our career. Our country is at stake, and I fully believe that. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.